Yeah, mad organic. My name is Giuliano Argenti. This is my good friend, Idaho, also known professionally as Combat Casual. Um, and he actually isn't a casual. He goes beyond selling himself short sometimes. That's his only weakness is his modesty. Um, and the reason that he is my featured guest for this prediction video is that this fucking card is a bitch to figure out. Not all of it, of course. Like, I mean, the main event's pretty clear cut. But yeah, from the bottom up, it's a strange one, right?
Yeah, obviously in the main event, you've got two longtime established lightweights and a former champion and an up and coming contender in the co-main event. But other than that, you have a lot of newer fighters and even some debutants. So it is kind of a strange card.
Yes, it is. It is. I like it though. I like it. I like the challenge of figuring it out. So I mean, like I see no need for foreplay. Let's just jump right in, shall we?
Yeah, your first fight of the night is Marek Bujło versus Denzel Freeman. Marek, he is undefeated at 6-0, but I think all of his fights he's won by finish. Maybe there's one he hasn't.
No,
Denzel,
all finishes, 2 submissions early, and then 4 straight knockouts.
if you look at it, a lot of them are in the first round, if not all of them. And Denzel Freeman, though he has the one loss, his one loss is in PFL. He had a win on PFL Challenger Series to get in the PFL, took the L, and then ended up going to LFA fighting Steven Asplund, and then actually winning the LFA title in his next fight. So I think that Denzel is reputable. I think that
better promotions.
that's the other thing. Yeah, good point. Marek's never fought in a promotion that I've heard of. So I think that Denzel is going to give Marek some resistance in this fight. I do ultimately see Marek finishing Denzel Freeman in the second round, but he might surprise us. He might take Marek to a decision. We've never seen him get out of the first round, so you could see something like that. But honestly, I am thinking that Marek gets this one done, but via finish. If not, I think Denzel drags him into deep waters, as they say, and he gets it done via decision. But we'll have to see Marek's gas tank too. That's going to be a big factor.
Well, I think Freeman's gas tank's the problem. So his only loss is by split decision, and that was the PFL. That was that was a tough PFL fight. But he also, and he's got knockouts. He can grapple. He
got submissions too.
That's
how he beat Steven Asplund. Is he kind of just
and Asplund's good. Yeah, rear naked choke. Asplund's good as well.
I would say that Asplund does have a deficiency on the ground, though.
Definitely. The thing about Marek is his speed is he's got 20 pounds, or rather he's 20 pounds lighter than Freeman. Those 20 pounds matter more. Yeah, you're talking about 240 and 260. And he's taller with a reach advantage. So you're talking about a heavyweight that can move around a lot faster. Now he has, like you said, he's got. They're both, they both have 6 wins. Freeman has the 1 loss. The thing about Marek is 4-fight knockout streak all first round. Before that, his first 2 fights he won by submission, a rear naked choke and a Kimura.
Mm-hmm.
What's interesting about him is he's got. See, I want to look at his topology because in his MMA record, right, starts in 2021 and then doesn't have another MMA fight for 3 more years, and then it's consistent.
Right.
3 fights 2024 and 2 this year. But that Kimura submission was in the streak of MMA fights that he's been on. And yeah, it's just like, I mean, these early knockouts, dude, it's like, and plus the speed advantage, it's like, I mean, I feel like Freeman, he's faced harder competition, so it makes sense why, he's not just on this like run of first round knockouts, like Marek. But it's like, I think Marek, the speed and the just the ability to like I don't think it's gonna be a grappling match. I think it's gonna be a classic, like two heavyweights, whoever knocks the other one out first. And I mean, I think Marek just has the speed advantage. So I mean, they're both debuting.
For me, I think that it takes him a little longer than normal. And I think I'm going to say in the second round is when Marek catches Denzel.
Yeah, I mean, you could be right, because Marek could be like, I mean, he knows the power that he's up against too, so he might not, take a risk until the second round. Especially, I mean, yeah, honestly, I could see exactly what you're talking about. I could see like a standing and like sort of like daring to like throw like kind of weak calf kicks at each other for a little bit until one of them just fucking goes in.
Right.
It's interesting. Denzel Freeman's the favorite, but that definitely has to do.
That was interesting to me when I looked at the odds. I thought that Marek would have been, but I think Denzel, just like we said, like fighting in reputable promotions, kind of being the LFA champion, kind of sways the odds a little bit.
Yeah, it's like no one stays LFA champion for long. Although he technically currently is. I mean, not anymore.
So we're both on Marek.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Marek.
How do you think he gets it done?
I'm gonna have to say knockout, because he's got heavy hands, and just like it's like I feel like he's gonna have such a speed advantage that he might even be able to do a body face combination. Like, you know what I mean? He's got a slight reach advantage too, and he's taller. So I mean, if he comes out, he seems to be the more aggressive of the two from the jump. Like, I mean, I think I'm looking for anything that makes me. Yeah, it's also about the weight too. Like the speed is what's gonna make the difference. I think they're matched.
Sure.
So yeah, I think match.
All right, you want to go to the next one?
Yeah.
Serghei Yakhyaev versus Nicolas Dalby.
Is that the? No, that's
not. What it says on Topology.
So yeah. Okay, yeah. Topology's out of order. Next fight's actually Nurullo Aliev versus Shamil.
Yeah, so Nurullo Aliev, he beat Joe Selecki in his last fight, who's pretty decent.
Selecki's not sure.
Yeah, he's decent. He's got a good ground game. Aliev is undefeated. What are you saying his name is? Because on Topology it says Shaquimi.
Yeah, it's like he goes by Shem, but it's Shakimi Rock is his last name.
So Rock, 12-1-1.
It's a hilarious name.
He fought in Octagon, which is honestly, Octagon is a great promotion.
It is.
He fought this guy in his last fight. His name is Attila, and Attila is a really good fighter. He's super fast. He seems like he's a little bit undersized for the division, but mostly a striker. And I noticed that he went to split decision with him after getting submissions, and then I think he has a draw in Octagon as well.
Yeah.
So outside of that, I mean, just kind of fighting on European regional scenes, doing well in Octagon, which is, again, a great promotion. Attila, though, he's not really... He's got a fun style, but he's really not that great. Not that high level, I would say.
You're talking about Rock's most recent opponent.
Yes. Yeah. So I think that Aliev is gonna get this one done. I'm gonna pick him to win by decision, just because I'm not very confident in the way in which he gets it done.
Yeah, I agree. It's gonna be Aliev. I think so. Rock's only loss is by knockout, and he primarily grapples. Yeah, I mean he's got early KOs and like nothing promotions, but he's primarily a grappler. And like Aliev can grapple well enough, I think, to
Yeah, the thing with Aliev that is strange is he got in a contender beating Josh Wick with a knockout. Then he fights Rafael Alves, who's okay, gets a majority decision, which is strange.
yeah,
And then he takes 2 years off and gets that win over Joe Selecki. But the kid's only 24 years old. I think that he's probably been in the gym working on some things. So I think he's developing his game a little bit since the last time we've seen him.
Yeah, definitely. He didn't look good in the Alves fight, because Alves was coming off a knockout loss to Drew Dober, and then he looked a lot better this year, against it was a 30 one judge gave a round to Selecki, but yeah, it was 30-27. He took him down and controlled him a lot. So like he tried. I do remember this fight now. So like he tried to scramble into a submission, and Aliev kind of easily defended against it. Yeah, so I think Aliev might actually even be the better grappler.
100%.
So yeah, I mean, I could. It's like he could. I mean, because like he just like spent a lot of that fight just stopping submissions. I could totally see. I could see something similar, maybe even a sub for Aliev, but probably unanimous decision.
For sure. So
he's
that next fight,
he's 8 years younger. So.
Yeah,
totally. And this is at lightweight, so that means Rock's going up a weight class.
Interesting.
He's also taller by 2 inches. Aliev's right at home.
So Sagid is Yakhyaev versus Nicolas Dalby is what I got next.
Nah, it's Ismail. Okay. That's it's Ismail here. I'm because topology. Yeah, like it's Ismail Nerdiev versus Ryan Loder.
So Ismail Nurullo, he last took an L in this fight. His last fight.
Yeah, it's Junyoung Park, who
and before that he beat Bruno Silva. The thing with, and then also when you think about Nurullo, it kind of didn't make sense that he got in the UFC because he'd been knocked out. Well, sorry, knocked out and then submitted in Brave before he came to the UFC.
His last fight in Brave, he did win by submission in the first round.
Right, so then he fights Bruno Silva.
He fought for the belt and lost. Yeah.
So then he fights Junyoung Park, and in his fight with Bruno Silva, he looked okay, and then Junyoung Park just kind of showed like how he's not able to get out of clinch grappling scenarios. Junyoung Park just kind of held him up against the cage hilariously. Funny enough, he actually. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was just gonna say I'm looking at this fight. I remember they took a point off Park, but it was it was basically a 30-26.
So he did fight in the UFC. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. You got this because Brave better.
No, I've never watched Brave. He did have a UFC run before that. He lost to Sean Brady in Chance Rencounter. Anyway, he just 29 years old. It shows me he's not really developing his game much. The way that Junyoung Park beat him, which is a good fighter, puts a heavy pace on people. So this is a tricky one, man. I think Ryan Loder, he's kind of a get or get got kind of guy. He's going to come out guns blazing in the first round. It's going to be really fun. I think that This is why it's a tough one. I'm actually gonna probably pick Ryan Loder to get the KO in the first round, and if he doesn't, then I've got Nurullo to just edge this one out via boring decision, or maybe even catch Ryan Loder sometime in the first. But
So
I'll probably go Ryan Loder first round KO.
yeah, so I'm gonna take Loader too for like kind of like but like I think I see it going the opposite way
Okay.
because how Nurullo was controlled by Park, right? Loader's a wrestler, right? Um, I think that I think it could be a first round knockout for sure. But that's happened to Nurullo. But I could also see, if he doesn't get knocked out, you know, even if he doesn't get knocked out, rather, it's like, he's had a boring decision for Nardiev. I could see that for Loader as well. I don't think Nardiev really has anything for him.
Mm-hmm.
I also think that Loader is, he debuted with a tough finale, knocked out Valentine. He beat my favorite fighter, like um, I know the guy can't fight every week. But, he got knocked out by Yakhyaev, but like it's like Ryan Loder's a guy with a ceiling on him, you know. I
100%.
think
And he's 34 years old.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like it's like he can only improve so much. So it's like it's like whether he wins or loses a fight is dependent on his opponent. Like his skill level is in every arena is kind of like where it is. I think like Nerdyev's chinny enough. I also Loder's got some height and reach on him. And also Loder lands a lot more.
Okay.
And he knows what to do if he gets taken down as a wrestler. Which is, and it's like I feel like Nardiev is gonna be just like deficient in every area, you know,
Yeah.
like including speed probably. So it's like I could see, I could honestly I could see it for a round knockout happening. So yeah, I'm taking that as well. All right. So next fight, Bekzat, Almakhan versus Aleksandre Topuria's younger brother.
Yeah. Made his debut, looked decent. I don't I mean, I think he's a little bit late to the game. He's only got what, 7 fights? What is he, 29-ish?
He's
Um
29, yeah.
yeah, so it's kind of strange, but um I think that the reason I'm going to pick him to win via decision is because Bekzat Almakhan, he got schooled by Umar in his debut. He actually did all right, but the thing is he didn't really land anything against Umar. Um, if you look at his stats, he lands
He almost never
like
lands, but
what's that?
although he almost never lands, yeah, 0.68. That was
Yeah, and then
bad.
he takes. Is it just?
Although
It's like just his differential is terrible, but actually, Topuria's differential isn't much better. I think it's like
it's not.
2.7 to
Mhm.
2.5 absorbed. So it's kind of strange. It's kind of strange when you look at the stats. That doesn't tell the whole story. I think that
It doesn't.
Topuria has a way more developed game with the hands and everything. I know that Bekzat Almakhan knocked out Brad Katona really quick in his last fight, which I think is impressive because nobody really does that to Brad Katona. Brad Katona usually makes it a tough fight, but I think
Yeah.
that again, I think that Topuria's game is so much more developed in all areas. So I think it's a
Well,
pretty easy dub for Topuria personally.
really,
Yeah, I'm picking him by decision.
I I think this fight's gonna go to decision. The reason, see, Colby thickness turned out to not be bad.
Right. Decent
And
prospect still.
yeah, and Topuria, I don't know if I agreed with the 30-27 in both of their debuts, but I mean, it was definitely Topuria's fight. He was just ahead. He was just barely ahead on strikes, though. It was really, it was really the takedown and then the takedown threat that allowed him to stay like a step ahead. Yeah, I mean, he had the one dominant round. But the thing with Almakhan is he put up, like, I mean, obviously he got schooled by Umar, but Umar's Umar. He put up a fight enough, even, I mean, 30-26, 30-25, whatever you want to say. He did get taken down. He did get, he was able to, he put Umar on the ground, actually, if you remember. And that plus the Katona knockout, I'm looking at, like, strikes landed per minute, and it's like, those are just UFC numbers, right?
Yeah,
We're
the
talking
UFC can
about
only count the stats that they have in their promotion.
exactly. So if you think about it, right, we're talking about two fights, right? He put Umar on the ground, and then Umar just completely tied him up and controlled him for the rest of the fight, and then he knocked out Katona so fast, in like just
It
over a
doesn't really
minute.
tell us much about his.
Exactly.
Yeah, I understand. I think the
Yeah.
Topuria is just again, his game is so much more developed. I don't think catching Brad Katona with what I think is a lucky shot. If they ran that fight back 10 times, does Bekzat Almakhan knock him out in the first round every single time? I don't think so.
Maybe not, but he probably does out wrestle him and eventually knock him out, even
That's
if it's
fair.
second.
That's fair. I just don't know if his hands are as developed as Topuria's, and I think Topuria has a uh, good enough ground game as well. So
I hear you. I'm gonna disagree with you on this. I'm gonna take on
okay.
Maki just because it's like he's definitely got more power than Topuria, I think, and I think his grappling is definitely better.
Okay.
But actually, see, it's hard. You know what? Yeah, no, I'm gonna go with, yeah. It's like you almost have to because there's really, I mean, yeah, I mean, and also Topuria's only loss, I believe, is by not, yeah, it was by knockout, and then that was fucking 10 years ago. What
Yeah,
did he
that's the
do?
other weird thing about Topuria is he did fight for a while and then took a long layoff, and now he's back to it.
He didn't compete in any, like, he didn't do kickboxing or grappling or anything.
It would be on his Tapology record if he did.
You're right. You're right. Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, it's just like this is a hard one. It's a really
I don't
hard
know.
one.
I don't think so. I think that
Yeah.
Topuria kind of edges it out. I mean, and I kind of hate when people talk about this, but it kind of is a factor, and we'll talk about it when the Nicolas Dalby fight comes up eventually, I guess, on your end, because um,
Well, I mean,
you
it's
know, uh, they do seem to be a little bit more biased towards the fighters of the region when they go to the Middle East. Now, obviously, this is in Qatar, so
yeah,
it is what it
and you
is.
got Kazakhstan and Georgia, which are both right there. So in this fight,
Yeah, but it's Topuria Georgian. I mean, I know he's Georgian. They live in Spain, so I
they're
think they'll be a
European.
little more
Yeah,
biased and again, I hate when people mention that, but it kind of is a
yeah.
thing.
But like, what? Okay, so like, what fight though in recent memory in the Middle East can you argue like
Again,
versus
a lot of people said that Renat Vakhrutinov versus Nicolas Dalby
that?
was a
That's
rough
the
fight.
one that
That's
people
why I was
bring
going to
up.
mention that one. But again, I will admit that they do seem to favor certain guys over there. And again, I don't even like mentioning it, but it just kind of is something
Yeah,
that it has to be said. So if this fight's close, you could see it swinging in Bekzat's favor. But I
yeah.
personally, I think Topuria is really good.
I mean, I don't think he's bad. That's why I'm saying it's like
I just think that his overall game is more developed than Bekzat. Now, could Bekzat hold him on the ground? I honestly don't think so, man. I think Topuria is going to be pretty active on the ground. So
it's yeah. I think it's just gonna be just better striking. I think Topuria, yeah. I think Topuria is gonna try to wrestle. He might have a round of control time, but like, yeah. Umar, Umar tried every fucking possible way to sell him, and the dude put now Umar is like not the striker that
He's a decent striker.
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's like I was about to say he's not like just knocking everybody out, but he's like he is a good striker. And, like this dude just, like surprised him right away, and then Umar spent the rest of the fight just keeping him from being able to move basically. Yeah. I don't know. I think that Bekzat's he's got heavier hands than like people realize, just based off of what we've seen. So yeah, I'm gonna
I
have to
don't
go.
think I don't think that knocking out Wash Brad Katona tells me much about Bekzat Almakhan personally, but it is interesting to see him steamroll Brad Katona because not a lot of guys do that. So yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, yeah. All right. First disagreement. All right. So next fight is Abdul-Rakhman Yakhyaev versus Rafael Cerqueira.
Yeah, Abdul-Rakhman, super young dude, 24 years old, 7-0. I was looking into his record, so he
Absurd
fought.
favorite too.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. I just said absurd favorite. Just to add
Yeah,
one.
minus 1,000. Yeah,
Look at
undefeated.
minus 15. It's crazy. Undefeated, yeah. Go
Uh,
ahead.
got a lot of finishes in all of his fights except for one that he went to decision with. And when you take a look at that, though, it was against a guy who was 7-0. Rest of his fights, he beat a guy 6-1 and a guy 4-1 in his last two fights. So fair enough. But those were in Aries before he came to the UFC. Obviously, dude's aggressive, gets a lot of first. Only has one finish in the second round in his
Yeah.
career. On the other side, Cerqueira, he had a pretty fun fight with Julius Walker in his last fight. But Cerqueira was fighting a bunch of cans on the regional scene. Took two losses in a
Yeah.
row in the UFC until that fun fight with Julius Walker, where I feel like he tried to pace himself a little bit more. So I think he's kind of confused on exactly what he's trying to do in the UFC right now. And I think that this young cat is going to go in there and probably knock out Cerqueira. I'm probably going first round knockout for Abdul-Rahman.
Yeah, I am too. I think that dude, Evo Aslan, who has gotten progressively worse, knocked him out in his debut, and a lot of people get finished in their debut and go on to become champions even. Or top 5 fighters, but then the Bukowskis fight, dude, and Bukowskis, I think Bukowskis is actually a lot better than people think. Dude, Bukowskis just steamrolled him, and you made a good point with saying that Cerqueira is like trying to pace himself more in the Walker fight because against Alson and against Bukowskis, it was all he's basically running towards them, trying to knock them out, and just having that go, the way it went for Jeff Neal against Process, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Julius Walker, I had in his debut, I had Menifield beating him, and like that was a split decision. Menifield won. I like Julius Walker's a guy that he's one of those guys where it's like the UFC takes chances on a lot of people, and from other brings them in, and especially at the higher weight classes, and a lot of the time it's like the way that they've fought that's been successful doesn't translate. Um, and like Julius Walker. I mean, he's not nothing, but like he I felt like he should have looked better against Cerqueira. Like I don't necessarily I don't see there's nothing about Rafael Cerqueira that makes me think he has any chance in this fight.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, I think this one's like open and shut for Yakhyaev. So yeah, so we definitely agree on that. Thank God, he's a fucking definite lock so far. I mean,
Well, he
I
should
think
be. He's a huge favorite.
yeah, I think Aliev's a lock as well. But anyway, all right. So the next fight is interesting. It's Alex Perez versus Almabayev.
Yeah. Man, tough fight. Tough fight. Alex Perez had a sick winning streak, and then and he actually beat Jussier Formiga. Um, a lot of people remember Jussier Formiga. Super fun fighter, dude. And he fucked up Jussier Formiga. Got his title shot at flyweight with Davison Figueiredo when he was champ down there, and Figueiredo subbed him quick as a mug. Since then, he took quite a few L's, but then had that surprise KO of Mateus Nicolau, and Mateus Nicolau was legit and on a run himself. Um, then he gets the fight with Tetsuro Taira and has that weird leg injury. So it's like, Alex Perez now he's won one fight out of his last four. Um,
Five.
so
That
take.
was last five.
Oh yeah, thank you. Won one fight out of his last five fights, and now he's taken on a Almabayev who's lost one fight out of his last five, and that is to Manel Kopp. Um, pretty
Yeah.
shut, pretty open and shut here. I mean, Almabayev is. I think that he's going to edge this fight out. It'll be more competitive than people think, but I think that Alex Perez, especially with the inactivity, he's taken so much time off in between. That loss to Davison Figueiredo was so long ago.
Yeah, that was a title shot, and
And yeah, so it was so long ago, and he's so inactive. Vasyl Almabayev has had a decent run in the UFC. I wouldn't say he's the most impressive guy. He's kind of a lay and pray artist a lot of the time. But I liked his win over Jose Ochoa, who I thought was a decent looking prospect.
yeah,
Um,
that was
but I could see a world where Alex Perez catches Vasyl Almabayev some point in this fight. It's not the most likely scenario. That's why I'm taking Vasyl Almabayev to win via decision. I don't. I think that Alex Perez is really tough, man. If Vasyl Almabayev was able to go in there and like just rear naked choke him or something like that, I'd be very, very impressed. Even Tetsuro Taira wasn't able to do that to him. It was that weird leg injury, if you remember.
well.
Um,
Yeah, no, I do remember. I mean, Tetsuro Taira climbed up his back, and it was one of the strangest knockouts. Like it was actually super interesting. And that was the main event of fight a couple of summers ago. But I mean, Perez does have that knockout against Nicolau. Almabayev fought Nicolau too, and it was a much closer fight, decision win. I don't want to do like MMA algebra, but Almabayev tends to win more by decision. He's more technical, which is why Manel Kopp was able to just confound him completely and style on him.
well, he did poke him
Um,
in the eye on the way to finishing him, but split hairs.
yeah.
I think he would have knocked him out regardless.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I just think that you know, like Perez has a massive hole in when it comes to grappling. I mean, you brought he brought up the Formiga fight. That was 5 years ago. He knocked him out, and that got him that title shot against Figueiredo, where he got subbed in the first round. And then on the way down, he got subbed in the first round again by Pantoja. Yakhyaev did the typical Yakhyaev, 30-26 unanimous decision.
Yeah, I mean, if Yakhyaev ain't subbing him, assume Almabayev ain't subbing him. That's kind of how I look at it. I don't think he's on the
Yeah, no,
level. And also,
I agree.
remember when Davison subbed him? I think he had subbed like three opponents in a row, like with that same
Yeah,
guillotine or something like that. So he's got an insanely fast guillotine. He's able to snatch up
sure,
on.
sure,
I don't hold that
sure.
or the loss to Pantoja against him.
Well, the thing about the loss of Pantoja after that is that he took almost 2 years off, and then he
Yep,
comes
yep.
back and gets subbed in the first round again, and that was hungry Pantoja who was finishing everybody, on the way up. And then he took another 2 years off before he fought Yakhyaev. And then he fought, and then a month later he knocks out Nicolau. So it's like, I think he's a guy like Alex Perez is a guy that like, he sees openings like, when it comes to striking. And he knows how to pressure a lot. But, when you got somebody who's like, who's technical and sneaky. Like, it's like,
I don't think that I
like,
don't think that Perez is a scrub personally, but
I'm not saying he is. I'm just saying that like he's definitely a pressure fighter in the sense, on the feet especially, and like, it's like you look at his losses and it's all to guys who are gonna either take, like, I mean, a little bit further back sub him, but like, in the case of Yakhyaev, just methodically like take him down and control him. And, like, I think Almabayev gets him to the ground, then it's just like, I mean, the Ochoa fight with Almabayev was crazy. Like, I mean, the way he just, like, Ochoa just couldn't stop him.
right.
It was
He's
yeah.
not. I don't think he's much of a finishing threat on the ground, so that's why I'm going Asu by decision. But I think if somebody was able to get a finish, it would be Perez by catching Asu. Again, I don't think it's highly likely, but that's why I'm picking Asu via decision.
Yeah, I'm gonna say the same thing. Yeah, unanimous decision for Almabayev. All right, next fight, the one that you've been waiting for, dude. Nicolas Dalby versus Serghei Gakhyaev. Or
Yeah,
Gakhyaev.
super random. Dude's 22-2. He fought actually in one championship, so I guess he's out of Chatri jail. His last win is over Shinya Aoki via knockout. And Shinya Aoki's 41 now, so what, even 38 at that point. He beat Li Peng Zhang, decent fighter. James Nakashima, he Bravo choked him, decent fighter.
Yeah, he's
Before that,
got a
he fought
lot
in
of
Eagle
these.
FC. Remember Eagle FC?
Yes, I do.
What happened to Eagle FC? Anyway, he got some finishes there, but did take an L to Carlston Harris and UAE Warriors.
And back when UAE Warriors was really not shit. And Carlston Harris, though, Carlston Harris is one of those guys that reached a point like just a horrendous drop off.
I thought that Carlston Harris was really good a while ago, and not like, I guess really good is an overstatement, but serviceable, right? So this is a
Yeah,
weird one, man. I mean, obviously we know that he's got
that's
a
what I
killer
said. He reached.
instinct. He's got a lot of experience, dude. But really never
Yeah, but
fought anybody reputable or in a great promotion. I mean, Eagle FC, does that count as a reputable promotion? I'm not really sure.
it almost depends, and like you said, Aoki, but
Super
you
super
got
thin weight classes in one.
also
I don't
three
know, man. This
years,
is weird because the
three
dude
years of
is
inactivity. This is the thing, right? Like, I mean, the Aoki fight was 2022.
yeah, good
It's like,
point. Nicolas Dalby, 41 years old, but pretty active. Obviously, Dalby did get KO'd against Randy
Randy
Brown, but
Brown.
that fight was a war. I don't hold that one against him. Nicholas Dalby's always going to give you a tough fight, and then arguably lost to Renat Fakhr, or sorry, arguably beat Renat Fakhratinov. I don't know, man. I don't have a lot of hope for this Sagid guy. I am actually going to be picking Nicholas Dalby. I'm going to pick him by decision because I think that his opponent hasn't taken much, damage, hasn't been knocked out. I think the Dalby's going to tough this one out, man. I have him to win via decision.
So my first instinct would be to agree with you,
Wait a second.
but
Oh, no. Sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, except for his last fight, right? He gets knocked out by Randy Brown. Nicolas Dalby
Rude boy. Boom.
Nicolas Dalby had never been finished in his entire career before that, right? Renat Fakhratinov, he almost beat Renat Fakhratinov, lost by split decision before that. Before that, he gave Gabriel Bonfim his first loss by knockout, right?
Mm-hmm.
At the age of 39 at the time, right? He lost by decision to Tim Means 2021, but and then he had way back he had his original run in the UFC where it was a draw and 3 losses, but then he went to Cage Warriors, right? And then he came back and he was he did beat D-Rod 5 years ago, but
Let's go through his
You know,
entire career while we're at it. Talk about his fights
no,
in the
it's like,
regional scene.
well, my my point, you dickhead, is that like, okay, so Warley Alves beats Warley Alves by split decision. Like, he's never impressed me other than knocking out Gabriel Bonfim. Like,
Really? Dalby's a fun fighter, man. He goes to war.
yeah, the Salikov fight, I guess, but like, dude, like, he's getting okay. So it's like I was just saying, like, it's like certain fighters reach a point where it's just over, like the drop is just there, like, and it can come at any age, right? But the fact that he just got finished for the first time by Randy Brown, right? You know, who
Why does Nicolas Dalby getting finished in a just banger of a fight, super tough fight where he got caught? He caught Randy Brown a few times. Why does that bother you? Or I guess why does that
so
make you say,
so
"Well, I guess he's washed now"? That
so
doesn't really
Nicholas
add up to
Dow
me.
what okay, so Nicholas Dalby, even back when he fought Salikov, right? He doesn't even if he lost that fight to Randy Brown, he wasn't getting finished, right? What I'm saying is that he's at a point where I mean, his chin's just been tested and failed, and
Hmm.
like, now the reason that this is a tough fight is because other dude's been inactive for 3 years.
I got a
Who's he
lot of
been doing?
confidence in Nicolas Dalby against this guy who
Has
hasn't really
he?
fought anybody high level, and
Do you
uh,
have do you have Topology pulled up? Has he been doing anything outside of MMA in the last 3 years?
it doesn't say so.
Okay,
Oh,
that's
sorry. He did have a grappling match in Karate Combat.
did he win?
Pit grappling. I think that was this year.
Did he win?
Yeah.
Okay. Submission or decision?
I don't know.
Okay. Dude, karate. It's so annoying about Karate Combat that it doesn't count towards your MMA record.
Well,
Um,
this was pit grappling. They have a
I know, I know.
okay.
I know. It's just I just had that thought in general, about Karate
Yeah, just
Combat.
to be clear, they do have a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu grappling show they do sometimes on their
Yeah,
Karate Combat shows, which is strange.
it's like, dude, I wonder if like UFC BJJ is really gonna like the jiu-jitsu components of.
Yeah, I could honestly give a shit less about UFC BJJ.
I
We're
know,
almost 45 minutes in, and we have quite a few more fights to get through. By the way,
I know. I'm just like, you know,
who are you
that's what
picking
you're
in this
here
one?
for. Dude, this might be the toughest fight on the card. That's why I'm trying to give it away. Also, that's what you're here for, dude. To keep me from rambling too much. But I don't know if I'm rambling too much. I mean, good luck for the steering me away from the EX. I don't give a fuck about BJ either. But this fight, dude, it's so hard, dude, because it's like I think Dalby might be washed, and now it's like, you know. I mean, look at what just happened to Salikov. It's like you're gonna tell me Salikov from like 3 4 years ago loses to Euros Medic? Like, fuck no.
I'm not saying anything about that. You know how I feel about Salikov.
Yeah, you were right. You fucking son of a bitch. But still though, like, it's like, so it's like I'm trying to see this fight in my head. It's like so. This is a fight that's like impossible to see in your head. Because Dalby's not getting submitted, right?
I don't think so. I think he's winning
Um,
by decision.
so how did so it's like, but think about that. It's like round one, round two. It's like, what is Dalby doing? Dalby puts it on people. Like, he's a striker.
Yep.
This dude's a. I mean, yeah, I mean, he has his knockout on Aoki, but like, he's mainly a grappler. He's got
It
other.
doesn't bother me. I think Renat Fakhratinov is a great grappler. Dalby handled him pretty easily. Or he handled it
Wow,
grappling
he
pretty
lost.
well against Renat.
Renat's an underrated striker, though. I think.
Yeah, that's why this fight doesn't bother me. That's why I think Dalby's got this.
And I shouldn't be looking at the odds, but I am. And Dalby's a considerable enough
He's
underdog.
always a good
It's like,
dog.
I mean, he was against Bonfim, but fuck, am I gonna do this?
Performed well against Renat. Got caught in a war against Randy Brown. That is, it's. I mean, again,
Dude,
I think it's
you
going to
keep
go to
saying a
decision.
war.
Go ahead.
You keep saying a war against Randy Brown, bro. But Brown kept him at distance the whole first round and then knocked him out in the second, or like
All
less
right.
than
Yeah, I
halfway
mean,
in
this
the
fight is
round.
taking way too long to break down. Again, it's like Randy Brown is a way different fighter than this guy is. So I don't see the
Yeah,
fight going like that. I think I see it going more similarly to the Renat fight. So I think the fight goes to decision either way.
yeah. But it's like, all right, you know what? You're taking Dalby. I think it's over for Dalby. I'm
Gotcha.
like,
Cool.
I'm good. I gotta go with this guy.
For sure.
How do you say his last name? He's a Yakhyaev, whatever.
22-2 is a great record too.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, he's 24 fights at 31 is actually
Hasn't really fought anywhere of note. You know, Eagle FC in one. It's like, okay.
yeah, but one. Yeah, I know you hate on one's MMA, but you know. Anyway, I gotta do it. I gotta take. Even though he's been inactive for 3 goddamn years, he's debuting. Yeah. All right. We're done with that fight. Jesus. All right, next fight: Bogdan Grad versus Luke Riley.
Tough one for me, man. I don't rate these like prospects coming from Cage Warriors. Luke Riley has a
Thank you.
lot of knockouts. He's undefeated. He really. Let me actually pull this up because
See, this one's
so
easy for me.
his last his first fight's against a 1-10 guy. Oh, sorry, that was amateur. My apologies. Debutant. I'm listing off the record of his opponents in order from bottom up.
Riley.
Yeah,
Yeah,
debutant, 2-0,
yeah.
1-1, 6-4, 2-0, 10-3, great record. 5-0, 17-11, and he goes to decision for the first time. Oh no, sorry. He goes to decision with a 2-0, decision with a 10-3, goes to decision with a 17-11, and then his last win is against a 9-2 guy. But pretty decent, but I mean, most of his fights are ending in knockout except for four. Oh, sorry, yeah, 3. Again, I just don't. And then this is my bad because I don't watch Cage Warriors. So fair play. Luke Riley could be a really, really good fighter. It just seems like Jordan Vucenic. Who's that?
I was just gonna bring up. It reminds me. See,
Who is
I'm
that
taking
other guy
Grad.
that fought on? Was it? I think he got a short notice fight. Some other Cage Warriors guy. I'm just not sure. Cage Warriors is good at building up prospects, but I personally don't feel like they're as good as testing prospects, matchmaking wise.
No,
So
not at all. Yeah, and I
I like
totally.
Bogdan Grad. I think he's a good fighter. I did pick him to beat Naimov. Naimov ended up wrestling the shit out of him and actually like
He
handling
almost
Bogdan
won that.
Grad. It wasn't a very competitive fight.
I see. I disagree, dude. By God house struck him. And it was I mean, it was a close fight. I mean, I think Naimov had his 2 decisive rounds, but also, yeah, I don't know if you remember his debut against Lucas Alexander, but
It's just like
he was
who the fuck is Lucas Alexander?
well, he was actually a pretty heavy favorite, and God knocked him out in
Interesting.
the second round.
Okay.
Um, I think Grad is definitely well rounded. You know, he can grapple. He had a war on contender series that he won by split decision. He's already fought twice this year. It was competitive against Imam, but you don't think so? I mean,
I honestly don't remember the fight that well. I do remember that Naimov just beat him in the grappling department. I think Bogdan Grad is better in the stand up.
yeah,
And
definitely
I
better
think
in the
that's where this
stand up.
fight's going to take place. I could see Luke Riley maybe catching him, but I do
Well,
have
that's
Bogdan
where
Grad by decision.
Yeah, I definitely taking Grad. The percentage comparison is on point because Luke Riley. I mean, it's gonna be, he's gonna come out. He's gonna try to knock him out. And he's dealing with a guy who's fought now twice in the UFC. Very competitive fight against Naimov, who's actually very good. You know, he debuted with a second round knockout after losing the first round, getting taken down.
I forgot I had this as my picture. I have to answer a text, but I'm still listening.
Where you could dude, you don't have to you don't have to put up an avatar to answer a text unless you're getting like titty pictures. Which, I mean, if you are.
No, it's just that it pauses your camera when you.
Oh yeah, you're on your phone. Oh yeah, you're on your shit. I'm stupid. Yeah, yeah. So I'm taking Bogdan Grad. I think you're absolutely right. These Cage Warriors prospects, you know, when they, you know,
And to be fair,
they're not.
Ian Gary came from Cage Warriors. Cage Warriors is Patty Pimblett came from Cage Warriors. Again, I just think that it just seems to me like a lot of their prospects, again, they just don't meet a lot of resistance inside the promotion. They are built up very
Yeah.
well, but again, hey, Luke Riley could catch. He could catch Bogdan Grad. I've never watched him fight. To be totally fair, maybe that's on me. Maybe he surprises us, but I think that Bogdan Grad is a solid fighter. So he's got a higher level experience. I'm taking Bogdan Grad.
I watched Luke Riley's most recent fight.
Okay.
And, you know, it's like he's okay. So like similar to Vucenic, it's like, you know, you got Cage Warriors. You got these guys that are really good kickboxers, and it's like the best of them rise to the top. But then it's like, you know, when Vucenic came up against Chris Duncan, it's like you know, I remember I had Chris Duncan, and he was a big underdog, and I'm just like, what the fuck? It's like Duncan's gonna submit. It's like, you know, look what he did to Bellagio. It's like there's no. You know, it's like, you know, and it's also you always have to be wary of somebody who's a debutant against even somebody who's like mid-level.
Yeah.
Got octagon experience, UFC octagon experience. You know, and I think Bogdan Grad's actually underrated quite a bit, to be honest. So yeah, I'm taking him. I'm gonna take Grad probably by decision, but I could see him knocking him out. I could see him catching him with a counter strike.
Could be a fun fight.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be a fight. All right, this fight is definitely one of the most interesting on the card. Tagir Ulanbekov versus Kyoji Horiguchi.
Kyoji making his long-awaited return to the UFC. This has been rumored for how long now? I remember when Kyoji lost to Sergio initially, they were like, "Oh, Kyoji's going back to the UFC." So, you know, and he trains at ATT, so it's like he's kind of always like floating around that he might be returning to the UFC. Man, I like Kyoji a lot, man. He has this really awkward striking style. Super light on the feet, kind of has a karate-ish style in and out of the pocket. But yeah, obviously got slept bad by Sergio Pettis. After dominating Sergio for 5 rounds, Sergio comes back with that sick knockout. Since then, you know, he fought on Bellator versus Ryzen. He beat Nurullo Ogikubo. Fantastic wrestler in Ryzen. Super strong dude. He gets the dub over him. He has a fight booked with
he had that great one-on-one with Cerqueira here, where they did like they both knocked each other out in the first. He got knocked out in the first round by Kai, and then next fight he knocks Cerqueira out. Like, yeah,
so yeah, then he goes and he fights Makoto Shinru, who is just a. If you guys don't know who Makoto Shinru is, he is a super high pace, very fun Japanese grappler, and he gets an eye poked by him. The fight gets rebooked. He gets the sub over Shinru. Very impressive to me. Shinru's still a pretty young cat, but super impressive to me. And then gets his win back against Sergio Pettis, and then beats Zulu. I think he was actually supposed to fight Mikiru Asakura, or he was supposed to fight somebody else, and then it ended up being Zulu that stepped in. But either way, he gets the win over him, and then here we are. Finally have Kyoji back in the UFC. For Tagir, trains with Team Khabib. I always thought that he was pretty unimpressive. He got schooled by Tim Elliott, beat Nate Manis, not in the UFC, beat Cody Durden. We all know what's up with Cody Durden. Clayton Carpenter he beats, and then his last win was a win over Azat Maxim. 4 months ago. So, I have a lot of confidence in Kyoji Horiguchi. I think that he's a very high level fighter, and I think that he's just well above anything Tagir Ulanbekov. Anything that Tagir is going to do, Kyoji's seen it multiple times. I think this is going to be an easy win for Kyoji, and also he's going to be a nice addition to the flyweight title picture, I think, with a win over Tagir.
It's hard to disagree with you, but I am going to say this, right? Tagir Ulanbekov he's unique in that he is able to allow his opponents to sort of set the pace of a fight and then completely beat people at their own game. So you go like you could be disparaging of Cody Durden now, but at the time he fought Cody Durden, subbing Cody Durden was no joke. The Tim Elliott fight, was extremely competitive. That's the only fight he's lost in the UFC. He debuted against Bruno Silva. He's beat Alan Nascimento.
At 34 years old, I feel like Tagir should have accomplished more and been a higher level guy. This is just kind of ridiculous. I don't think Tagir is very exciting.
He's not exciting. He's not exciting.
Yeah.
He's not exciting.
I think Kyoji's winning this easily.
Yeah. It's like I want it to happen. And see, it's like it's gonna be a like there's no way around it. It's gonna be a grappling. It's gonna be a grappling fight.
Yeah, and then Kyoji fighting Makoto Shinryu and Hiromusa Agikubo. I mean, he's dealt with these pretty good.
Yes.
Obviously, the Dagestani style is going to be a little bit different than the Japanese style, but those guys are fantastic wrestlers in their own right.
He also, the thing that gives me pause is that Kyoji's he's fighting 10 pounds lighter than he normally does against a guy who's got height.
He used to fight at this weight class though back in the day in the UFC.
Yeah, but no, I know. But I mean, he's in his mid 30s though, and that was 10 years ago. When he left UFC. I mean, it's like. Now that in and of itself doesn't necessarily matter. It's just like I'm just thinking about the Clayton Carpenter fight with Tagir. How he just fit like it's very hard to articulate. But there's a way that Tagir has of he's not an exciting fighter, like you said. But he has a way of figuring things out and seeing It's like by the end of the Clayton Carpenter fight, he was literally ready for like he knew where Carpenter was gonna be. So
I don't think Clayton Carpenter is anywhere near the
level
of
Kyoji
Horiguchi. And also, Kyoji Horiguchi's fought way better guys than fucking Tagir Ulanbekov.
Dude, well.
So basically, if you're picking Tagir in this fight, in my opinion, you're banking on the fact that he's going to be able to control Kyoji because I don't think he's winning the striking exchanges, and you're banking on the fact that Kyoji has potentially lost a step.
I would say the return to the octagon a little bit, but I'm definitely it's not going to be a striking is out of the equation. I think that and yeah, you are right that I'm banking on Tagir being able to control Horiguchi, which I do see him being able to do. I think he's deceptively strong when it comes to that.
Also, keep in mind that you said he's fighting a weight class down from where he usually does. I'd argue that he's been fighting stronger guys. Up at bantamweight and Bellator, they didn't have a flyweight division. You know what? I'm not sure if Makoto Shinryu and Hiromusa Ogikubo fights were at flyweight or bantamweight. I'm actually not really sure.
I'm pretty sure they were 135.
Okay.
The Zulu fight was for
the bantamweight title in Ryzen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I did a fight companion for that. That was a weird fight.
Cool. So who are you picking in this one?
Man, it pains me to do this, but I have to take Tagir.
Okay. Cool.
Like I'm probably gonna regret it, but I'm gonna take Tagir. All right. Let's get into some fucking. So okay, next fight: Serghei Spivac versus Shamil Gaziev. This one's weird. And as much as like Spivac's looked like shit lately. Especially when he honestly looked injured against Cortez Acosta. Just having his guard up, not attempting to do anything, and before that, getting knocked out by Jason Almeida. He had a rematch with Tybura where he armbarred him in the first round. Of course, he got knocked out by Cyril Gahn, but he's also sub Derek Lewis. Before that, it gets like, Canny, Gustavo Sakai, et cetera, et cetera. The thing about it, and it's like Gaziev's only lost the one fight, but he lost that fight by quitting on the stool. And his cardio
And it was
is
a
not.
fucking boring fight.
It was, and the thing about Gaziev, dude, is like he has technique, and it's just like, why is he not doing wind sprints uphill? Like, why is that? Why does training camp consist of no cardio? Because like, bro, he just knocked out Thomas Peterson in his last fight, first round. But like the Dontown Mays fight, bro, it's like where they're both just like fucking sweating and like grabbing their chest and shit. It's like his car, like Spivak he does have speed, and unless he just gets lured into a stupid striking exchange and refuses to grapple, if he gets Gaziev on the ground, Gaziev's gonna expend so much energy just trying not to get submitted, and Spivak subs people. It's like it's
So
I'm
for
gonna go
me,
Spivak.
yeah. What method?
It it could be a decision if he's got Gaziev gassed in the second or the third. Or it could be decision, just top control, like trying to find a sub.
Spivak, 30 years old, fought way better guys than Gaziev has, and I understand that he's got knocked out by Cyril, Waldo
Yeah,
Cortez Acosta, and he's been knocked out by Jailton Almeida, the guy who doesn't throw strikes. Well, I think that their styles kind of made more sense for something like that. They were obviously
yeah,
having a grappling match, but
sure.
I think Gaziev is a fat blob of a human being. I hate this guy every time he fights. I just go, why are we doing this? This is supposed to be the UFC. You're supposed to have the highest level athletes on the planet Earth, and then you got fucking Shamil Gaziev. I bet I bet he's got a very pungent odor when you fight him in the cage. It's probably why he's beaten so many guys that he has, because they're just like, what is that smell? Um,
He's
but
also
anyway,
fat around the middle
yeah,
without broad
super fat.
shoulders.
He's
No
got
strength
power.
in.
He's got power,
He has
man, and I
power.
don't think he's the worst fighter ever. But I think Spivak gets the submission in the second round. I think that he's going to be able to get him
Yeah,
down. And again, Spivak's fought way higher level guys than this. Could I see Gaziev catching him? 100%. It's heavyweight. Anything can happen. But I got Serghei Spivak second round submission.
yeah. I agree with everything you said. I think Gaziev's faced nothing competition by comparison. The one time he fought anyone approaching, people like Spivak's fought, which was Rosenstrike, he quit on the stool. Um, you know, Technical, TKO technically, and also, it's like, the only thing that gives me a little bit of pause is like, and like I say, it's like I have to put this down to an injury or something was wrong with the way that Spivak looked against Cortez Acosta. He was fighting, he just had his guard up without attempting to do anything, and it's like, the Cortez Acosta can't grapple, and Spivak, attempted no takedown, so it's like, yeah, like a broken rib or something. Like, whereas like, assuming that, isn't still the case right now, like, the fight goes to, because Gaziev's won fights just by laying on people, you know, Dante Mays. It's like, that's not going to work with a guy like Spivak who can like he'll scramble out of that and sub you, you know, and or he'll at least reverse to top control. He does move, like I say, just discounting his last fight, and I'm putting an asterisk there. It's like he does move quickly for a heavyweight. Whereas Gaziev just loads up, and it's like, he'll catch you with like technique if you're standing right in front of him, but otherwise, he's undeserving of a spot in the ring. It only has to do with the lack of actual heavyweights. Which, like I was saying to you before we started filming, it does make me happy that they're like throwing more heavyweight fights into these cards. It's like, you're gonna get like a Mario Pinto and a few more others on the come up out of this, and also weed people like Gaziev out. So yeah, I agree. Spivac by probable submission. And this is gonna be okay. Next fight is Jack Hermansson at 170 versus Orolbai. I'm gonna just I've said this before. I have no idea why Chris Curtis did it first, and now Jack Hermansson at the age of 37, for the first time ever, is cutting down to welterweight, putting himself through a much more difficult weight cut to fight a guy who's going up from lightweight and naturally belongs at welterweight, and who is a fucking animal, to be honest. Who can knock you out, who can submit you. I think Orolbai is a lock, probably by knockout. Jones, being that Hermansson just got flatlined by Gregory Rodriguez.
Yeah, I mean, and also take into consideration that knockout was really bad, super bad knockout, and that was only 4 months ago. I'm never a fan of a fighter coming back less than 6 months after a vicious knockout. Hermansson is a great fighter, man. I've seen this guy do so many cool things. He had a really good run before I can't remember exactly who it was he lost to, but he had a really good run at middleweight. I think he got a main event, and then he lost the fight. But
he lost to Strickland, and then he beat Curtis, but then Delise knocked him out.
Well, if you remember how he knocked him out, he got a calf slicer on him and had his back, and then rained down shots. That was such a sick finish. I thought that was one of the coolest finishes I've ever seen. Just the way in which it happened. Then he fights Joe Pyfer and schools Joe Pyfer with just a jab.
He gave up
brutal KO by Gregory Rodriguez 4 months ago. Myktybek Orolbai. He's got skills on the ground. He was devastating. He was on quite the run in LFA before getting in the UFC. Beats Jaros Medic by sub. Beats Elvis Brenner, who was really good at the time. Remember Elvis Brenner?
Yeah, he was the first to beat Elvis Brenner.
Yep, and then he has that war with Matej,
which I thought he won.
Super fun fight. And then 4 months ago, he subs Tafik Musayev, who I think is a great fighter, and made it look very easy. That was on the Azerbaijan card.
I remember.
So I got Myktybek Orolbai. I'm gonna say second round TKO, but you know what, man, Hermansson's a really good fighter. I could see him maybe somehow pulling off a decision here, but I have high hopes for Myktybek. I think he's a great prospect, and I think that 37-year-old Jack Hermansson, as you said, cutting weight. By the way, 10-year age gap between these two. I'm picking Myktybek Orolbai. I'm picking him by TKO. I could see a world where maybe Hermansson survives to the end, and then it's just a decision win, a dominant decision. But I am going to go Myktybek second round TKO.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna agree. I'm gonna say first round actually because of the weight cut for the first time in your late 30s. It's like nonsensical, and the fact that he was flatline KO'd 4 months ago.
Yeah.
Think about Volkanovski fighting Topuria after the same thing happened. That's the classic. And then the weight cut. It's like it's like they're set. They're just fucking they just want Orolbai.
It's a weird fight.
Yeah, and but dude. I love Orolbai, dude. I think he's fucking. He looks like he came out of a time machine, and I love the way he fights. And the dude just I mean, that Rebecca fight was insane. The way he rose from the dead in the third round, bro. Just like
Sick fight.
He's a very exciting fighter. I think he's a lock against Hermansson. All right, next fight. Volkan Ozdemir versus Alonzo Menifield. Two men whose best days are behind them. I'll let you go first on me.
You say that, but Volkan is a great fighter. And again, I'm a newer fan, and I started watching late 2019, and all I remember from Volkan, because I believe he had a little bit of a layoff, but was getting schooled by Yuri and then getting knocked out viciously by Yuri. So I was like, oh, like this guy's not very good. Well, he's a great fighter, man, and he in his last 5 fights, and he beat Paul Craig 3 years ago, and he lost to Krylov, but had a good run, man. Bogdan Guskov, he subbed, and Johnny Walker, he knocked out.
That was a bizarrely easy knockout for him too against Walker.
He went to decision with Carlos Olberg, and this is actually a fight I wasn't
very
watching.
Close fight.
Yeah, I didn't watch it, but I heard the fight was very close, so that's impressive to me. On the other side, Alonzo Menifield is a guy that has been long considered washed. He did beat Justin Jacoby, and then he took those 2 losses to Mirzakhanov and Olberg. He comes back about 8 months ago, gets a decision in a close fight to Julius Walker, and kind of fraud checked Umar Sy, who we kind of learned doesn't really have a stand-up game.
It's weird though, the Umar Sy fight, because it's like I feel like that has more to do with the fact that Umar Sy got lured into a striking fight that shouldn't have been what it was. And,
I think that Menifield could catch Volkan. He does have a lot of power, but man, it's just he relies too heavily on being reckless and catching dudes. Again, it could happen. But I think it's more than likely that Volkan Ozdemir actually gets the KO over Menifield. I think that actually him being reckless is going to play into Ozdemir's hands, and I'm actually figuratively and literally, I think he's actually going to knock out Menifield by the second round.
Sure, you remember the Olberg fight, right? Being
where he just ran into range and got caught by Olberg. Hilariously.
Olberg perfect game plan. Just like, oh yeah, this dude's gonna run at me and try to knock me out. I'm gonna run away and then turn around and knock him out. Like, I think and I think Ozdemir is an intelligent fighter. I don't know if you remember, because you brought up the loss to Yuri. I don't know if you remember just a little bit before that, dude. He took Dominic Reyes. He lost to Dominic Reyes.
I never saw that fight.
By split decision.
First Dominic Reyes fight I saw was when he knocked out Weidman.
Okay. That might have been the fight right after. Because but yeah, no, Reyes, dude, Reyes, we're talking about undefeated Reyes on the way to fighting for the belts, right? And yeah, he had never, no one ever gave him a run for his money at that point, like Ozdemir did.
Yeah.
That was right. That was a fight right before he knocked out Weidman. And I mean, Ozdemir, dude, like, it's like he's, he's had, I mean, really only, I mean, Yuri, I mean, Cormier way back in the day, but I mean, Yuri was 5.5 years ago. I mean, the fact that Carlos Olberg had so much trouble against Ozdemir, and then it's it's like, once again, it's like MMA math, but I mean, look at what Olberg did to Menifield. I mean, Menifield's a guy that's easy to game plan against if you're at a certain level,
Yeah.
And Ozdemir is definitely at that level. I think I just don't see. I mean, he would just have to he would have to be doing nothing, and not paying attention for Menifield to catch him, which is just beyond improbable to me. So I think it's pretty open and shut for Ozdemir.
Yeah.
All right. Co-main event. Bilal Muhammad versus Ian Gay.
So you can see for the last couple fights, actually for the whole card, I kind of had my tablet here. I was looking into people's records. These next 2 fights, man, they're pretty
Super easy.
obvious to me. I think that there is a little bit of parity that Bilal could, put on a good performance against Ian Gary, and I think he could even win the fight. I have to pick Ian Gary. He does enough to win. He's very, very skilled in all areas, and so is Bilal. I just I don't know, man. It's just I have to ride with Gary. This is what he does. He edges the fight out, right? He gets the decision win. That's how he gets it done.
Yeah.
And I don't know if here's the one thing. What's Gary's most similar fight to a Bilal fight? It's kind of weird, right? I don't know if he's really
Probably.
fought anyone exactly like Bilal.
No, he hasn't. I mean, I almost want to say Neil Magny.
That's
Like
what I was
that's
gonna say too, right? But then,
yeah,
but then Neil Magny has like this. He's a really long, rangy guy. So,
yeah.
uh,
It's a different type of grappling. See, this is the thing, right? Magny's a better grappler. If Magny, like, if we're talking about prime, Magny's a better grappler than Bilal.
better
Um,
grappler. Bilal is a pretty good wrestler. Also been training with Team Khabib. I understand that it's like, what do you mean he's a better wrestler than grappler? But it's like
no,
Magny
I know exactly what you.
yeah, Magny will sub dudes. He's got tricky
Yeah,
grappling, but Bilal's better wrestler. But I don't
yeah.
know if that
And
really
Bilal
matters.
doesn't scramble.
I think that Gary's again. I honestly like the when I see this fight in my head, I see it not being that interesting, and I
Yeah,
see Ian
I
Gary just landing more, keeping it just a slightly higher pace, doing slightly better on the ground, winning
exactly.
basically every round. I think that if this was 5 rounds, I think that maybe Bilal would have a better chance. And also, don't forget that Bilal just came off of a pretty tough fight with JDM, and that wasn't too long ago, was it?
No, it was in July.
Yeah, not too long ago, having a pretty tough. I mean, seriously, like it was a. I don't know if it was a war, but took
It
quite a
wasn't
bit
a
of
war.
damage. Took quite a
He
bit of
t-
damage in that fight.
he took damage. He didn't take devastating damage to where
It was a tough fight,
I
man. I think that's got to play into this somewhat. Now,
for
Ian
sure.
Gary, I wouldn't say had as tough of a fight in his last one. Also, man, you got to give Ian Gary credit, dude. He wants those big fights, man. Stepping in on short notice against Shavkat, short notice against Carlos Braches. I mean, come on,
Yeah,
dude. You get
I mean,
some credit,
there's
man.
20 more
And
seconds in process would have finished him, and Shock had a torn MCL. You have more respect for Ian Gary than I do, although I do think he's gonna win this fight because he
you don't have
fights to
respect for
win.
somebody wanting to
I
want
do,
the
I
smoke.
do.
Ian Gary wants all the smoke, and now he's going to be taking on
You
former
okay?
champion.
Well, hold on. You say that, but like since the process fight, I mean, process has already fought. He's already fought twice. Like we were talking about, this is Gary's first fight since then. Like if he was really lobbying for fights, like
How many times has Prates fought this year?
in 12 months, process has now fought 4 times.
That's
In
insanely high activity. This is going to
yeah,
be Ian Gary's second fight in his match time or third?
um, he before process he fought. This is second in as much time. So like that's half as many fights in 12 months as process.
As an
Although
extremely active guy, I mean, come on. A year and 4 months ago is when he fought MVP. Shavkat 11 months ago. And then Carlos
by the way,
Prates was 6 months ago. So this will be his third fight in a 12-month span.
okay, yeah, one less. Yeah, I mean, we agree. I think that Bilal. One thing about Bilal is that his striking has always been underrated. His grappling has
Yeah.
been over,
The
and
problem
that.
with the problem is that Ian Gary is very good at managing range. I think that
Oh yeah,
Bilal. You know what? It's interesting because I think you say Magny is the best comparison for Ian fighting Bilal,
yeah,
right?
and
On the
and
Ian side,
and that's
I would actually say Leon Edwards is the best comparison for Bilal fighting Gary. And I know that might sound weird, but I feel like that's the one, right? And
I
you
I
saw what
agree.
Bilal did to Magny, or sorry, to Leon. But I
Yeah,
just think that,
one thing.
Gary fresher, a little more game, a little higher activity. I think that
Conscious of point
yeah,
fighting. Also, you bring up the Leon fight, right? Leon Edwards was able to duplicate in, I believe, the third round, the body triangle that Bilal had him in the round before. So if you know if that you know if you're like if you find yourself in that position when you have a game, when you're surprising him on the feet, the way that Bilal wound up beating Leon, right?
Yeah.
But you give up that round like that. I mean, Ian Gary, who can grapple well enough. I think see that I bring up Bilal's grappling being overrated because I think if it goes to the ground, even
Also,
yeah,
another nearly 10-year age gap between these two.
no, 10 years exactly. Actually,
Well,
27
it
and
says that
37.
Ian Gary's 28 in 5 days, so he just turned 28.
Oh,
And Leon's 37 in 4 months. So yeah, basically 10 years.
yeah. It's like it's also, dude. It's like Ian Gary fights to win as opposed to fight, and but there's like you got guys like Protez who fight to kill, and then you got guys like Gary that fight to win.
I think this will
Bilal's
be a
like
close
somewhere.
fight, man, but I think the Ian's gonna edge it out.
Yeah. Bilal's somewhere in between. Like I was gonna say, I could see Gary winning round after round because, like you're right. He knows how to see. He has a shorter reach than you'd expect for his height. But he uses kicks very well to maintain distance. I think what's gonna happen is he's gonna be up probably 2 rounds, and Bilal's gonna start shooting, and that's not gonna help him in the third.
Yeah.
Because Gary can, even if he gets Gary down, he can handle it. And even if Gary gives up a round, Gary will be, it's how Gary wins a lot of fights. It's like he's already ahead 2 rounds by the time his opponent starts to go, oh shit, I need to do something.
Yeah, in 3 rounds, I think that Gary's got this.
Yeah, I think it's a win shot. And then, all right, main event: Armin Tsarukyan and Dan versus Dan Hooker.
Man, Dan Hooker, dude, you gotta fucking love Dan, man. I mean, this is a guy at one time was on this weird losing streak, and then he went down to featherweight again. Remember that? And then he fought
Yes,
Arnold Allen. He got punked by Arnold Allen. It was so embarrassing, but
Arnold Allen's good. Arnold Allen's good, but
it
yes,
was just a very questionable decision for Dan at the time, and he looked so bad against Arnold. I don't even think he threw a punch. It was really, really bad. Bad look. But anyway, dude, still in the rankings. Been in the rankings for like 5 years. Like that's
he
that's
clawed he
crazy at
clawed his
lightweight.
he clawed his way back up though too because he got knocked out by Chandler if you remember, and then
Of course,
Islam sub.
who could forget?
And then what you just brought up, the Allen fight, and then who was it?
Oh yes,
Claudio Puelles,
Akbaras.
yeah, barely beat Jalen Turner.
Fun
And then
fight.
yeah, no, for sure. And then the Gamrot fight, which was like,
I had picked
every
Gamrot to beat Dan, by the way, and Dan showed out in that fight. Another fun
that was
fight.
one of those fights. Yeah. It was one of those fights that had like a story arc almost. Like, it was Gamrot was dominant in the first round, and then the trajectory started changing them by the third round. Hooker's on the feet, and like, I mean, the thing is though, it's this matchup, Armin versus Hooker. It's almost like they're both being punished because Armin, he was he was set for a title fight, as everybody knows, and then on days notice pulled out, and then Dan Hooker just simply doesn't have a chance against Armin, and so
Yeah. No, I don't. I mean, you look at the Gamrot fight and you go, well, Gamrot, you know, he beat Armin, so yeah, right. But you can see it going similarly. But Armin is no slouch, dude. I think that he's the rightful person that should be fighting Ilya Topuria. Gives him somewhat of a challenge. Um, and I also
yeah,
feel like this is more similar to the Islam fight. I think that Armin basically takes him down, controls him, maybe even subs him, probably later than Islam did. Maybe goes to decision just very dominantly. But also don't forget that Armin knocked out Beneil Dariush. You can
and
see a
yeah,
world where Armin
knocked
gets
out
the
Darius.
TKO over Dan. I mean, I don't know, dude. I think
He
that
could do it anyway,
yeah,
any
I
way
could
he
see this
wants.
basically being finished any which way. Which way? Um, I don't know. I mean, do you think what way do you think that Armin gets it done? I have on here because it is 5 rounds. I have Tsarukyan third round submission. I think it's going to take him a bit of time. He'll eventually wear Dan Hooker out, get the sub in the third.
So if you actually, so it's like, that's my first thought too. But then if you actually look at his record, he doesn't have many subs, dude. You have to go back a long way.
Okay.
And although his wrestling, that Oliveira fight was crazy. He's a very powerful wrestler. And he's a very, very powerful striker as well. So, I could see this being, I could see this looking like Moicano versus Benoit Saint Denis, even just like a takedown into a brutal ground and pound. I think it's gonna end in a KO TKO after a takedown probably, but also I think Armin could even just catch him on the feet, especially in the pocket, dude. Body shots, uppercuts there. Hooker's good, but he's just no match, dude. It's just like and I like Dan Hooker, dude.
The thing about Armin is he really needs to impress in this fight. He really, really needs to impress in this fight, man. If he doesn't, he's gonna be waiting for that title shot for quite a while, man. So
yeah.
he really needs to do something very, exciting in this fight.
Yeah, and if you remember if you remember the Dariush knockout, dude, that was the main event. And
Dude,
if you remember,
what were we doing? I think we were, I was about to go to BKFC Salt Lake City to watch Mike Perry versus Eddie Alvarez. And we
right?
were watching it in the hotel, like before we went to the arena or something like that. I think
Nice.
that's what we were doing. And yeah, it
Yeah,
was
you're
like,
talking about December. You're talking about December. This would be early December 2023.
and we were sitting there and I was telling everybody, I was like, yo, like Armin's finna knock out Benil. And they're like, no, he's not. And I was like, yeah,
Dude, do you remember? But do you remember what the co-main was? It was when Jalen Turner beat up Bobby Green's corpse, and you're like, "What the fuck?"
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. And
But yeah,
it's
I
like,
had
how's
actually
the main
won
event?
like every topology league on that event. I remember
Bro, I
because
didn't even know what the fuck topology was then.
I had Armin like first round KO over Benil, and like people were like, "What? Like, come on, So yeah, I remember that vividly.
Yeah, I remember I had locked them both, but I was like, how the fuck is the main event gonna top what I just saw
Yeah,
turn
that
into
was so
Bobby
brutal.
Green, and then it's just like back to back first round slaughters. But yeah, it's like dude, and then the Charles Oliveira fight, like it wasn't Islam versus Charles, but it was I think he did a lot better in that fight than people give him credit for. People
I think that the rounds were close. Sorry, I think that the rounds were close, but the rounds were all clear for Armin personally.
yeah,
Obviously, he was in a
yeah,
very dangerous position with that Darce choke in the third. It's
yeah,
arguable. I personally don't think that Charles necessarily had him dead to rights at the very end of that fight. I think Armin probably sneaks his way out of it. But fair play to Charles for getting Armin in that sub. But otherwise, I think he was winning. He needed that sub to win the fight, right? Like there wasn't any
yeah,
way he was going to win that fight. So
a hundred
I.
percent.
I know. I think that Charles had his moments and it was close, but the rounds were clear for Armin personally. That's how I feel about that fight. I think people give Armin a lot of shit for that just because they
You
fucking
give him a
love
lot of
Charles
shit in
Oliveira so
general.
much.
Yeah, that's true. Also, people don't like him because he doesn't have to fight because he has money.
Yeah,
Um,
sure.
but also it's just like it's like I don't want to say it's like a joke, but it's like look at who Armin's fought, look at who he's beat, and it's like put Dan Hooker up against any of those people. You know what I mean? It's like not any, but like think about you know, and then it's like look who Dan Hooker's lost to and put them up against Armin. Fucking Chandler, are you kidding me? Like
Yeah, I,
I mean,
I don't know, man. I mean, I have a lot of respect for Dan Hooker. This fight's
I
just a
I do
really
too.
bad fight for him, and I think that his run at the top of lightweight is coming to an end. So
I mean, yeah, and almost before it began, because it's like, I mean, it's really the Gamrot fight, which was so razor thin that even has him where he is.
Yeah.
But you know, yeah, it's gonna be brutal, and and you know what? Fuck the UFC for like for being so ridiculous about just not booking Armin sooner after the shit in January.
Yeah.
Like,
100%.
and like it's like that they're probably gonna give Gaethje to Pereira. They probably won't,
Yeah.
because he's gonna need to fight before the inevitable Islam coming back down. It's like but Armin, you're right that Armin needs this to be a spectacular. This needs to be
It
like
really does.
and I think it will. I think it will. I think he's going to deliver.
Hope.
And I mean, I feel bad that Dan Hooker has to be the casualty of that, but
Yeah, this is what it is, man. It's a fight game.
All right. Well, my friend, we're just past the 90-minute mark by 1 minute exactly, and for this card, I think it deserved it. So, I'm gonna let you go, and figure out how to get you into the tournament.
All right, man.
All right, dude. Yo,
What's up?
Imagine being imagine doing a stream and not talking about the musical Giuliano situation.
Yeah, I know, right? Who would do that? That's like, I mean, it's almost non-MMA YouTube. You know,
Yeah.
what are we going to talk about? Fights and what's up next for people in the UFC and watch one championship kickboxing. Yuki
Yeah,
Yoza at
guys who
Superlek.
never nobody's ever heard of.
Nobody knows who Yuki Yoza and Superlek are, man. So yeah, got to talk about musical MMA and Gio's beef.
Yeah.
What fighter on this card would you say is most similar to musical MMA? Because I was thinking Shamil Gaziev.
Shamil Gaziev. You got the 4 stomachs. You got the lack of
And a
muscle
lot
tone.
like musical, Shamil Gaziev quit and waved the white flag against Jairzinho Rozenstruik.
He did quit on the stool. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's like
A lot of similarities there.
A lot of similarities.
These are
Yeah.
the things you got to think about when making picks and preview videos for UFC cards.
Yeah. Or when you're not doing that because you don't make any MMA related content.
Right, because it's all about beef. Yes, 100%. I do have.
Got to make those wages though.
Yeah, I do have some audio for you.
Oh wow. What
yeah. I think this would be a good way to end the stream as well.
Of course. Well, video.
I got you.
I mean, it's a stream of sorts in the present moment.
Yeah, sure.
Dude, see, I was gonna take a song request from you, but you came prepared, so I'll let you go.
I'm waving the white flag here. I'm waving the white flag. I ain't got a choice.
Man without a choice, huh?
Yeah. So I think I'm gonna wave the white flag and I'm gonna get up out of here. All right, Gio.
All right, bet. I'm gonna wave the white flag to you. You've left me no choice. Peace.
Peace.